Hey, well, good evening. Today I'm going to be talking about a very critical subject. The subject matter is Lace Weed. The nature of this speech is to inform you and not to be persuasive, but hopefully that you will make good decisions. When I was a sophomore in high school, my sister went off to college. At the end of that season, during the summer months, she came home and she was approximately 30 to 40 pounds much lighter. My family didn't think anything of it. We thought that it was the nature of her being in college, she was going to naturally lose weight. But it wasn't until that weekend we figured out something else was going on. Apparently, the guy she had been dating had been lacing the drug that they had been smoking with other substances. So, that brings me to this subject. Marijuana is the most frequently used drug on college campuses. Due to its legalization and being readily available, drug dealers frequently lace with other substances to increase its potency and dependency. In the last 35 years, marijuana is at an all-time high on college campuses, pun intended. A USA Today analysis of 620 deaths for college students and university students in 2004 discovered that freshmen accounted for more than 1/3 of undergraduate deaths in the study, despite the fact that there are only 24% of the undergraduates at an institution. In fact, college students are using more drugs in general. The percentage of college students using illicit drugs rose to 41% in 2014, up from 34% in 2006. In other words, 4 out of every 10 students have either tried or continue to use illegal drugs. Many freshmen see college as an opportunity to experiment with illicit drugs such as marijuana, ecstasy, and cocaine. Young adults would experiment with drugs, that's no doubt. The matter is more severe than I'm making light of. It's inevitable that when they leave for home, they're going to attempt new things and possibly even drugs. I hope that this speech educates you to think about the consequences. Marijuana is most widely and frequently used drug on college campuses. Drug dealers consistently make it more potent and make it so that you're dependent. During my career in the military, I've had several subordinates that I've had to kick out of the Navy because they were dependent on drugs. Of recently, because the military has a zero policy, one particular guy comes in mind. He's married with children, and we had to kick him out of the Navy because he tested positive for drug use. What I find more striking is that his drug use, he had admitted to using marijuana. What he did not admit is the other substances that was in his bloodstream. When he was questioned, we found out that he attended a party at ODU, and they found methamphetamines in his system. This is why I became more interested in this subject. While I will not excuse his behavior and make light of it, I am trying to make you more aware that lacing is more prevalent than it appears. So why is it important to know this information? I'm planning to address. I'm also going to address why college students should be more aware and what are the signs and symptoms of laced marijuana. So let's talk about the definition of lacing. Lacing is an act of adding more substances to another. Individuals sometimes lace their own drugs with another substance to combine or to alter the physiological or physioactive effects. Street drugs are commonly laced with other chemicals for various reasons. Lacing is most commonly practiced to supplement the original product or to sell inferior, cheaper drugs that and make it appear to be something more expensive. According to a study in 2008 by Peters, found a direct correlation between readily available drugs and laced marijuana. Some of those drugs I'm going to talk about here in a minute. And another study that was done by Feinstein found that police received information that it was incurring in order to facilitate new addictions to methamphetamines in those that are using marijuana recreationally or in a social capacity. Once again, because marijuana is so prevalent among college students and readily accessible, drug dealers will lace marijuana in order to make the recreational user drug dependent. Once the person becomes dependent on drugs, the dealer has a constant and tenacious customer, which will do almost anything to acquire legal drugs. Now that we've defined exactly what lacing is, I will now discuss why it's important for you to know this information. So, why is it important? A study in 2016 by Leon and Martinez found that 41% of college students use marijuana. According to the same study from several campuses, concluded that drug experimentation was highest among freshman students. Bottom line, the students that either experiment or use marijuana recreationally are at risk. So up until this point, I've not told you what the substances were. The list that I'm going to go through are not conclusive. There are other things out there for like synthetic marijuana. But what I am going to describe to you is what's more prevalent. What is marijuana laced with? In an adolescent study, the use of prevention, one of the dangers of smoking marijuana is the possibility that it's laced with another drug, methamphetamines, which is a powerful, highly addictive stimulant that affects the nervous system, also known as meth, chalk, ice, crystal. Sometimes it takes the form of a white, odorless, bitter-tasting crystalline powder that's easily dissolved in water or alcohol. PCP, phencyclidine, also known most as angel dust, or PCP, was brought to the market in 1959 as an anesthetic pharmaceutical drug, but was later taken off the market in 1965 because of its dissociated hallucinative side effects. Fentanyl is an opioid medication used as part of anesthesia to prevent pain after surgery. Then there's cocaine, which is a powerfully addictive stimulant, drug made from the leaves of the coca plant. It's native to South America. Heroin is an opiate drug from morphine, a natural substance taken from the seed pod of the Asian poppy seed. Heroin can be white or brown, powdered, black sticky substance known as black tar heroin. Other common names for heroin include dope, horse, junk, and smack. And then there's codeine. Codeine is an opioid pain medication used to treat mild to moderate severe pain. All of these were done by Jackson, Ewells, and Wiley. The other substances that I found is that they are lacing with embalming fluid, any liquid substance that slows the rate of decomposition. Fungi or funguses, an organism derived from a group of funguses or eukaryotes comprising of mushroom, molds, mildew, smut, rut, and yeast. Sometimes the street name is referred to as shrooms. Heavy metals. Sometimes marijuana is laced with heavy metals such as arsenic, lead, cadmium, and mercury. Usually the heavy metals is a contamination which results from poor quality fertilizers. Hopefully you've been following along and understand the dangers of using laced marijuana. My next step is to identify how to identify laced marijuana. While I do not advocate for drug users. However, I'm not naive. I believe the substance, in the absence of parental guidance or lay guidance, students are going to experiment with drugs. How to identify laced marijuana. In the 2017 January 12 study, it's important to remember that unregulated drugs such as marijuana, the users have really no way of knowing what other types of substances has been added. So you can look at it. There are ways to determine if the cannabis has been laced with other drugs. Marijuana may appear yellow or off color such as red or white. It may have a blue or white crystal on it. It can have an unnatural crusty look to it, like it's been soaked in chemical bath or then dried. You can test it, which is the odd way to do it, which is the only real way to determine if the marijuana has been laced is to test it. Kids can test for cocaine and meth, but not for other drugs, such as heavy metals. You can smell it. Laced marijuana smells like chemicals, such as oil polish, oil, and fuel. You can feel it. It should have a natural feel to it. Does the leaf leave a sticky, oily residue? Feels grainy, sticky. If so, the product may be laced. So why should college students be aware? Because once again, let me reiterate, marijuana usage has been increasing among college students. It is currently the most commonly used drug on college campuses. According to Malik, College Study 101, Miss Independent Guide to Empowerment, Confidence, that marijuana can have a particularly negative effect and impact on the lives of college students. So what are the signs and symptoms of laced marijuana? What it will do? It can give you the effect of other drugs in it being laced. For instance, it can make you exhibit any of all of the following symptoms: aggression, nausea, irritability, decreased appetite, low or increased heart rate, trouble falling asleep, dizziness, difficulty breathing, feeling lightheaded, hallucination, diarrhea, delirium, vomiting, organ failure, psychotic outbursts, addiction, and death. If one of your friends are exhibiting any of these symptoms, get help. The symptoms of a person using drugs are well known. Take some time to familiarize yourself with them. If someone exhibits the sign as mentioned previously, take them to the doctor because you could possibly save their life. I've been talking for the last 12 minutes about laced marijuana. I hope that in some way, shape, or form, you understand what I've been saying, that the rise of laced marijuana is more prevalent and higher on college campuses, and it is at a 35-year high. Young adults are more susceptible to drugs, to the dangers of laced marijuana. What is lacing? Why is it important to know this information? Because you are susceptible. And then I talked about how to identify laced marijuana and what to do if someone you know becomes affected by laced drugs. So once again, I'm not advocating for the use of drugs. That story that I told at the beginning, well, my sister eventually had to go to drug rehab. It took years for her to overcome the addiction. She is now saved and a layperson in her church. But the amount of time that she lost and so much more, she still has to deal with every day. I'm going to leave you with a little quote. Imagine trying to live without air. Now imagine something worse. That was by Amy Reed. Thank you.